Hello, guys. Welcome to our Tech Day Pakistan first ever event. I would like to welcome you all to our event, and we will start our keynotes. And I would like to invite Hamad Bhai, who is our uh, pioneer and our like a very like we always look at him for our all the activities and everything. So I would like to invite Hamad Bhai to come and present the keynote. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shakir. Thank you so much for all the volunteers for coming together, making this event a reality. I'm super glad to be here. Very grateful to each and every one of you for taking time and being there. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. And I really appreciate that you're spending your, I believe it's Sunday morning with all of us here. And I'll be remiss if I don't extend my thanks to 22 plus speakers that have joined us in this event from 7 different countries. So we are extremely grateful for all of your love, attention, and care, and your time that you're giving and sharing with us. So with that, I want to jump into it. My intent is to spend close to 30 minutes on a couple of very interesting things. But before I do that, a quick introduction. My name is Hammad Rajjoub. I work as Director of Compliance, Risk, and Privacy Ecosystem at Microsoft. I've been with Microsoft for 11 years. You have my email address and Twitter handle. Please feel free to reach out. So with that, let's just jump into it. There are three things that I really want to focus on today. And one of those is top of mind opportunities and areas where I would love for you to try and explore if you're not already doing that in terms of your career growth, your technical depth, and so on. So that's why I've kind of picked these three key things here. Let's talk about security and cybersecurity landscape. Cybersecurity jobs are growing at an exponential rate right now. There's an expectation that there will be 3.5 million globally available opportunities in the field of security by 2025. So that's a massive opportunity right in front of us. Cybercrime, which is predicted to cost the world $10.5 trillion, and I repeat, it's trillion, $10.5 trillion annually by 2025, up from 6 trillion in 2021. This number will continue to grow, and likewise, the demand for security professionals will also continue to grow. Microsoft has an initiative that helps reduce cyber attacks by increasing IT workforce. We've talked about number of opportunities there. Google is doing something similar. Facebook is doing something similar. So all big tech companies are very focused on bringing those scaling opportunities to go and fill this gap. So a massive opportunity. And I'll spend a few minutes on it in terms of what the landscape looks like, what it means for us all. And I will share from Microsoft perspective on what we are seeing from customer conversations and the broader industry lens. But you can take very similar insights and apply it from other vendors' perspectives too. So I want to keep it honest, and I want to give you real insights from what we're seeing. The other part of the equation is the rise of artificial intelligence and how pervasive it is becoming in enterprise organizations today. So I'll talk a little bit about in terms of what are the challenges and opportunities associated with that. So you can think through it. You can apply your lens from where you are in your career and where you want to go, and how you can leverage these opportunities as you go forward. And interestingly, there's a very nice match that happens between security and AI domain, and I will touch briefly on that as well. And then last but not the least, I want to share a few insights with you all in terms of how you can potentially go think about your personal development and your career growth. So last section is not so much about technology, it's really about your career growth. And I'll share some of the insights that I've learned over the years from getting the opportunities to talking to some of the greats in the industry. So that's okay. We'll move into the next part of the conversation where I focus a little bit more on the security landscape in terms of what we're seeing and what we're learning from our customers and different industries as we go out of there. First of all, it's a universal thing. Everyone's feeling the effects of cyber attacks becoming more frequent, becoming more sophisticated. becoming even more larger scale. I'll give you examples: Nobelium, Hafnium, Colonial Pipeline. They're all great examples of what the industry is facing or has recently faced. The ransomware attacks are increasing massively, tremendously. Even just over last year, we have seen 150% increase in phishing attacks, increase over 667%. There are just staggering numbers, like 500 plus password attacks are carried out every second of the day. And then there are national state level attacks that are also on the rise, and they're super well resourced. So there's just kind of like a whole spectrum of things that are happening. What we're also hearing from our conversations with customers and looking at the broader industry, there is an increasing pressure to secure multi-cloud IT environments. I know you have a tremendous lineup of speakers who will talk about what it really means from an M365 perspective, from Azure perspective, from Power Platform perspective. All of those things come together, and there's customer data in AWS, GCP. It's all over the place. So wherever the data is, wherever the apps lives, wherever the devices are, you gotta have to be able to go and be able to protect those. So according to the recent reports that we have seen, there's about 80% of customers, enterprise customers, are already multi-cloud. So it's not just one cloud, one environment. Multi-cloud IT environment is it's a big piece of the puzzle, and we're constantly seeing increasing focus and pressure from organizations on solving for that. It's a consistent theme that we're hearing across the board. Then there is like a regulatory landscape. There's one slide that I generally talk to customers with, and I did not include it in the interest of time here, but like every country is coming up, every region is coming up with their own regulatory requirements. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard Pakistan is on a similar journey where there will be local cloud-based regulatory requirements for cloud vendors to go and comply with. So then, if you're a customer, if you're an organization who's running in a multiple geographies, how do you make sure that you navigate that complex regulatory landscape? Because you want to serve customers no matter where they are and bring them the value that you bring them. So those are the three key things that we're saying in terms of how we face that challenge. What are the things that we're doing? What are we learning? And some insights into the staggering depth and breadth of that. So like where we are today, we're potentially one of the largest security organizations. And I'm giving you a Microsoft lens of things, but you can take it out and think of it that's potentially true in terms of the challenges for other organizations as well. But I'm going to share the Microsoft perspective here. We are protecting close to 650,000 organizations in 120 countries. I think the most important piece here is like the number of signals that we capture every single day. So 24 trillion signals that are captured every day. So just imagine the staggering amount of data that's coming in through that. And then who are we tracking in terms of nation, state actors, and other threat groups? They're like 40 plus just the nation state actors and 140 plus threat groups spread across different geographies. So it's like you have on one side there's just the nation state level, like super well funded, and then there's like a long tail of threat groups across different geographies as well. And 32 billion email threats we get to block every year. So just the breadth and depth of signals that come in, it kind of gives us a very unique perspective of how we go and think about this broader ecosystem. We think of ourselves as defenders. We understand the challenges our customers and the broader ecosystem face, and starting with the complexity of the enterprise technology environment that I just talked about, the multi-cloud piece, the blurring lines between business and personal activities, and this pandemic and endemic that we find ourselves in, all of those boundaries are blurring. So there's just so many different devices and identities and groups, all of that coming together. The challenge is kind of multiply. So again, it's a Microsoft perspective that I'm sharing with you, but you gotta learn the insights from it and see what are the opportunities that you see where you can play a role in it. So whoever is going to go tackle this has to be a very authentic and holistic offerings across the board. Security does not mean just an endpoint. It does not just mean security for an app. It does not mean security for your PaaS infrastructure or IWS infrastructure or SaaS application. It's a combination of endpoint, email, identity, data. all of those things, apps and multi-clouds coming together. And that's why there's a defense in depth conversation. There's a security, there's compliance, there's identity, there's endpoint management, there's privacy, complying with the regulatory requirements, and taking care of multi-cloud, multi-platform needs or the realities of the customer that we find ourselves in. So it's all of those things coming together. So again, just like the breadth and depth of signals, 24 trillion daily signals just coming in. How do you make sense of that? Like the security success depends on the artful combination of human ingenuity in terms of skills on security workloads across those different scenarios that I've just talked about, but also marrying that with the AI and machine learning algorithms to be able to detect and automate actions. How can you get to a stage where, as a human, be able to track 24 trillion signals every day? That's not humanly possible. So that's why there's kind of like a matchmaking between human capabilities and AI and ML capabilities coming together that help you detect, make those detections, get the signals out of the noise, and then also help you in terms of automating actions on the basis of that. At Microsoft, we have 8,500 plus security engineers and researchers whose job is to day in and day out track those signals and make sense out of that. And I think you see at the bottom of the screen, what does that impact look like in terms of blocking those threats and making signal out of it. By the way, I highly recommend you all to bookmark Microsoft Digital Defense Report and periodically check, because that's where we publish most of our insights in terms of what we're seeing and how we are tackling those challenges. So bringing all of that together, what does that mean from a holistic security perspective today? Organizations, our customers, our ecosystem needs a holistic approach, and the security providers must be able to give unparalleled visibility, automation, and intelligence. And at Microsoft, it kind of gives us the ability to deliver on our 4 key promises. We want to protect everything. We want to make sure that we help you safeguard your entire organization, including devices, your identities, your apps, your integrated solutions across multi-cloud, multi-platform environments. We also want to make sure that we help you simplify the complex. Like we often hear from our customers that we are in a unique position to offer this simplification, the capabilities of using our AI and ML capabilities. We are the platform provider, so we provide a lot of building blocks in terms of Azure, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, all of those things we have a really good handle on because we built it at Microsoft. So like we have a unique opportunity of making it simple. So we take great pride in and ownership and simplifying the complex security landscape, because we can take care of the complexity in the back end. We want to catch what others miss. So catching the threats before they cause any damage. So really detecting and preventing and being proactive about it, using our AI and ML capabilities to go through all of those signals and predict what's going to happen and then take action before it actually happens. I think it's super, super powerful, and that's the way to go. And again, that's a great scenario of AI and security coming together in terms of a great career opportunity and a growth opportunity across the board. With the peace of mind that comes from, hey, like if you're an organization and you have comprehensive security that, for example, Microsoft provides, you have a peace of mind that you can say, all right, my security is taken care of. I can go and focus on growing and creating and innovating my business. I don't have to worry about spending my cycles on worrying about security related threats and being in a reactive mode. You can be very proactive and you can go drive the business growth. Microsoft's commitment is really to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And our security, our vision of security is part of that broader picture as well. So you'll continue to see us innovate and bring those capabilities forward. So I've talked a bunch, kind of like I've going to give you a very broad security landscape, but I wanted to ground that in the reality of what does that mean from a product truth perspective. Like if you wanted to go and see what that means from your perspective and see what products that you can go and use. I'm not going to list all of those products, but just kind of bringing those high level pillars for you. So these are the 5 key pillars for us as we think about our full left to right view, our solutions to support your digital journey in terms of security. So first is protecting identity and endpoints for strong zero trust foundation. Zero trust is a big push from our perspective. It's a framework. It's a foundational piece. It cuts across everything that we do. So that's one of the key things that we enable. Then modernizing security and defending against threats as we navigate this hybrid present and future in terms of the nature of threats that we all come across. So how do we help organizations to help them stay ahead of the attackers, basically, is what we try to do with that. Securing the cloud infrastructure is super critical, both on Azure and beyond Azure, but in terms of hybrid and multi-cloud is another key pillar for us, and there's a lot of product truth there that enables those capabilities for our customer organizations to go and improve their security posture with that perspective. Protect and govern sensitive data is the lifeblood. Like, data is the lifeblood of every organization, right? So how business data is handled and processed becomes increasingly important as the amount of data is growing at an unprecedented rate. I talked a little bit about how we're living in the pandemic and all of those challenges coming together. So protecting and governing sensitive data is a core pillar of what we do. And then last but not the least is the comprehensive security approach is not just about defending external attacks, but also controlling and mitigating internal threats as well. So insider threats is a new product solution category for us. We're investing heavily in it, and a lot of customers are getting benefit from it. But the idea is to don't only secure from outside, but also have an inside-out view of security and manage and investigate internal risks as well. So that's just kind of good sense of key pillars across our security solutions. I wanted to leave you with this quote from our CEO, Satya Nadella, that you all are familiar with. Security is our top priority, and we are committed to working with others across the industry to protect our customers. It's really a team sport. It's not just a Microsoft thing. It's truly multi-cloud. It's truly multi-platform. And I shared the foundational pieces with you as well. So this is the one key big bucket of my conversation with you today, just to think about how big the security space is today and how it will continue to grow over the next several years. And I kind of gave you a perspective of how Microsoft thinks about security. So now you have a good multi-dimensional view of where the industry is going, what the customer challenges are, and then you can think about where do you want to play a role in that in terms of what are the opportunities for you as you go in your own personal journeys or your organizational journeys and so on. So I'm going to switch gears and talk a little bit about AI. So the AI market, I'm not going to go into the depth of AI or machine learning capabilities. I'm sure there are other sessions that will cover that, but I just wanted to give a high level elevated view of where the industry is today and where we see most of the opportunities for you all to think about and make an impact. So AI market remains in an evolutionary state. There's a high percentage of AI innovations appearing on the upward slopes. You see this hype curve from Gartner, and this indicates a market trend of end users seeking specific capabilities that are often beyond the capabilities of the current tool. So there's just kind of like a lot of interest in it. A lot of organizations are trying it. Not everybody's successful. If you look at the market size, this year it's supposed to hit, estimated to hit $62 billion. So extremely massive market opportunity out there for all of us to think about how do we want to play in it. Enterprises continue to demonstrate a lot of interest in AI, with almost close to half of the CIOs in the Gartner CIO and Technology Survey saying that they've already deployed or they plan to deploy AI and ML technologies in the next 12 months. So that's just kind of consistent theme that I believe you're all seeing in your conversations and the opportunity across the industry. But I wanted to make sure that I call it out that this is a massive opportunity and will continue to grow. There's a lot of maturity that needs to happen in this industry for it to become super pervasive across the board, especially on the enterprise side of the house. Increased trust, transparency, fairness, auditability of AI technologies continues to be a growing importance and a concern and a challenge. I'll touch that on the in the later part of the presentation as well. So if you look at it from machine learning industry, machine learning perspective, I wanted to give a flavor of what does that mean in an industry, in a real industry-based, vertical-based environment. So you can see that it is happening and future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. And you can see that there's a trend, there's an upward trend that's happening. But we expect and we anticipate that this will continue to grow. And I have this view just to make it super relevant and clear from one industry example in terms of how it is impacting in a line of business context. For think about it from a risk management perspective, from a customer engagement perspective. And this is all to say that the back office functions, the risk management, the compliance folks, they're the ones that are mostly seeing the use cases at the moment where they want to use AI and ML-based capabilities, because they're the ones who are facing tons of data, tons of signals coming in, and they want to make sense of it. There's no way for humans to scale to be able to make sense of all of that. So that's why they see a ton of value in utilizing AI and ML-based technology. So all of this to give you a sense of where the industry is and where it is going. So there's a horizontal play and then there's a vertical play. We anticipate a lot of verticals will go super deep into their AI and ML journeys, and all those journeys may look different from each other because they're very centric on what that vertical is all about. Again, this is the banking sector, the FSI example. There are other similar examples for retail, for manufacturing, for healthcare, and so on. But the theme is consistent that there are certain use cases where AI and ML can make a ton of impact, and organizations are actively thinking about investing there. So from our perspective, if I bring Microsoft view to it, we are in the business of democratizing AI, making it pervasive across all the platforms that we build, across every application, every business process, and bringing it to every single employee internally and externally. That's what we're really trying to do. So our vision is to enable every company to transform by bringing AI to every application, every business process, and every employee, and as a result, achieve more than they ever thought possible. So again, aligns with our North Star of enabling every customer, every organization, every person to do more. So, but our perspective is not just only using AI to bring that productivity and innovation. We also want to make sure that we bring our AI is based on certain set of principles. So we call it responsible AI principles. Again, it's a Microsoft view. I think all big players in the tech industry have a similar approach to it, but I just wanted to give you from a Microsoft perspective that we're committed to advancement of AI driven by ethical principles that put people first. I think that's going to be one of the key challenges in this space, that how do we make sure that the technology that we're bringing to our customers and partners in the broader ecosystem is fair, it's reliable, it's transparent, it is aligned with privacy and security principles. There's accountability baked into it. There's inclusion baked into it. So you will continue to see us bringing responsible AI to the broader market. But whichever tool, technology, vendor that you pick, always ask yourself, how is this AI, this tool, this platform, this algorithm, how can you bring responsibility as a core tenet to it? How can you bring solutions that are trustworthy for your customers and for your partners and for your organization that you're building these capabilities for? So those were the two key. If you can imagine a three-legged stool, those were the two key legs of the stool that I just wanted to touch base on today. Again, just kind of quickly playing back, I've talked a lot about security, the market opportunity, the shortage of skills gap, and I kind of gave you a Microsoft perspective of why is it important, what we're doing, why we're doing, how we're doing it. And then I kind of switch gears and talk a little bit about AI, how pervasive it's going to be, what is the market size, what is the opportunity, and how Microsoft sees that. So you kind of, by now, I hope, have a sense of what does those two buckets mean for you in terms of the market opportunity in front of you. So I'm going to go switch gears and talk less about technology between now and end of this keynote, and talk a little bit more about career principles. I want you to be in a state of mind where you can dream of things that never were, and think about imagining them and visualizing them and going in a product creation journey or service creation journey or whatever creative journey or professional journey that you want to be on. This is one of my favorite quotes from John F. Kennedy: dream of things that never were and ask why not. I think we are at the inflection point of technology. I gave you two examples of security and AI. There are multiple other technologies, AR, VR, that will enable us to do things that were never possible before. So we should feel very blessed and very lucky to be in the industry that allows us to do what was not possible before. I want to talk a little bit about mindset, personal growth, and share a few anecdotes with you. So, by the way, I recently read this book called Limitless by Jim Quick, and I wanted to share a few nuggets of information from that, and I hope you will take it away with you. So we can talk about technology all day, all night, 365 days of the year, and there will still be more technology left for us to talk about. I think there's people part of the equation that we don't focus on enough, and that's what I want to use next few minutes to really talk about. Let's talk about personal growth. What can we do to drive our personal growth? There's a book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck, where she talks about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And growth mindset is extremely, extremely important for your success. So people who excel at the highest level are committed to growth and consistent improvement. So it's not about perfection. It is about progress, because it is about when you make progress, you drive growth. In what ways are you committed to growth mindset? Ask this question to yourself. Have you scheduled that growth mindset time, the time that you need to grow yourself in your calendar? So go block your calendars every month, every week. Give yourself that mental space that allows you to grow, because when you grow, you will also bring others with you on that growth journey. Second thing that I want to talk about is giving. The road to excellence is not about me, it's about we. Everything in nature gives or is eliminated, which means you grow as you have more to give. That is why when you teach something, you get to learn it twice. When I was making this presentation, I had to do some research. I had to get all of these slides together. I learned a lot. So always think about giving it back. When you learn and grow with the intention to give, you have more for yourself. Third thing is gratitude. How can you appreciate the things you'll eventually have if you don't appreciate what you already have? Write down the things that you have in your life that money can't buy. Think about your health, people that you love, your sense of sight. All of those things will help you be grateful for what you have. And if you are grateful for what you have, that will help you drive your personal growth as well. Success builds on success, but you must appreciate the success that you already have. The only person that you're competing with is yourself. Don't compare yourself with others, and be grateful for what you have. Grit is all about perseverance. It's about persistence. It's your ability to overcome difficulties. There's an awesome book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. I will highly recommend it to you to go find it and read it when you can. And when you have a big goal in front of you, when you're driving your personal growth, you will run into challenges. Of course, you will run into challenges. That's where the grit and perseverance comes in. Look at problems as puzzles. Don't look at problems as problems, because puzzles can be solved. Again, these are all great nuggets of information that Jim Quick has mentioned in his book called Limitless. So I'll highly recommend you to go there. These are the 5 things that stood out for me that I wanted to share with you. And I hope it'll make an impact in your personal journey as you think about those things. If you want to be successful, you're on that journey and you're thinking, hey, I'm in this industry. I want to be great at what I do. What are the things that I need to think about? Who else to learn but from a greatest visionary, one of the greatest visionaries of our industries, and who other than Steve Jobs? So he's given amazing set of advices. I kind of captured these 5. Here's a link that you can go read a lot of details from. But few things that did stick with me, and I wanted to call out: do what you love. If you're passionate about what you're doing, you're going to make an impact. So feel really good about what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, go find something that you're really passionate about, because when you do things that you love, magic happens. Number two, learn to say no. You cannot do 5,000 things. Pick your battles, go deep into those, make an impact. But you got to learn to say no if you want to make an impact. Third thing, make connections. Talk to people. Make your own social circle. Help others be successful. Once you make those connections, you rise with all of those people. Put a dent in the universe. Think about your moonshot ideas. How do you want to make difference in the universe? What are the things that you're going to help solve for? And when you think about putting a dent in the universe, maybe there's an angle of there's the religious angle to it, there's your personal angle to it, there's a personal philosophy attached to that. But once you bring your mind to it, that's when you can really make a dent in the universe. And last but not the least, sell your dreams, not the products. Because dreams are visionary, people can get behind it. And once you get your ideas together, you can do whatever you want. Again, great insights from a great visionary leader. And I just wanted to share that with you as you think about your career journey. So they come towards the end of this exciting opportunity to talk to you all. I'll try to bring all of that together. So 3 things that we covered today. We talked about the opportunities and security landscape and the job growth opportunity that exists today, and that will continue to grow over several years. So think about how do you want to capture that opportunity? How do you want to go solve for those challenges and make a dent in the broader scope of technology landscape? Think about the challenges that you will be able to tackle and solve for in terms of using AI and machine learning capabilities. And then last but not the least, be passionate about what you do. Think about your personal growth. And once you grow, you will bring other people with you and be more successful in your journey. So with that, I'm super grateful to you all. Shukriya, Pakistan. Thank you so much for spending 30 minutes of time with me. And back to you, all of the hosts. Thanks a lot.
थैंक यू अहमद भाई। मेरे 2 सवाल हैं आपसे। तो पहला सवाल ये है कि एक तो पहले मैं टेक्नोलॉजी का एक सवाल कर लेता हूँ कि जैसे कि अभी ये हमारा कोरोना का टाइम आया है और हमने देखा कि एक पूरा एजुकेशन सेक्टर जो था वो ऊपर नीचे हो गया। आप ऑनलाइन क्लासेस होना शुरू हो गई और सारी चीज़ें हो गई। और अगर हम पाकिस्तान के पर्सपेक्टिव से बात करें तो लोगों के पास वो बैंडविड्थ नहीं है, वो चीज़ें नहीं हैं, डिवाइसेस नहीं हैं, सारी चीज़ें नहीं हैं। और अगर हम ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट हम सिक्योरिटी को रखें तो कैसा आपका ये पूरा 2 साल पिछले रहे और आपकी क्या लर्निंग रही? क्या हमारी कैपेसिटी रही इन 2 सालों में? आप थोड़ा-सा उसमें अपना बताएँगे राय?
Yeah, no, absolutely. जबरदस्त सवाल शाकिर। आई थिंक कुछ चीजें बहुत उभर के सामने आई पिछले 2-3 सालों में ये पैंडेमिक की वजह से। पहली तो ये कि फिजिकल प्रेजेंस सेकेंडरी हो गई। पहले ये था कि आप कोई काम नहीं कर सकते थे जब तक आप ऑफिस नहीं गए या आप स्कूल नहीं गए।
जी,
तो
बिल्कुल।
सबसे पहली चीज तो ये हो गई कि ये पता लग गया कि हमारे पास ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजीज ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट करती हैं जिनकी वजह से हम वर्चुअली सारे काम कर सकते हैं। जैसे ये कॉन्फ्रेंस है, मैं यहाँ पे आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ। बच्चे पाकिस्तान में स्कूल वर्चुअली लेने की, जिनके पास डिवाइसेस थी, ऑफ कोर्स जो चैलेंजेस हैं इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के वो तो हैं, लेकिन
जी,
जहाँ पे पॉसिबल था वहाँ पे वो चीज़ वर्चुअल हो सकी।
जी,
आई थिंक फिजिकल जो था वो सेकेंडरी हो गया। दूसरी बात ये हुई कि बहुत सारी, अगर मैं इंडस्ट्री लेंस देखूं तो उससे ये पता लगा कि अगर आपको टैलेंट चाहिए और आप वो टैलेंट फिजिकल प्रेजेंस की वजह से लिमिट हो रहा था, तो अब आप
जी,
जाके अपना होराइजन एक्सपैंड कर सकते हैं और आप रिमोटली लोगों को हायर कर सकते हैं। तो बहुत सारी
यस,
ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस उस जर्नी के ऊपर जा रही हैं, तो इट विल शो अप समहाउ। थर्ड थिंग, आई थिंक आपका जो वन ऑफ द मेजर पार्ट आपके क्वेश्चन का था वो ये था कि एजुकेशन पे और लर्निंग पे क्या फर्क पड़ा है। आई थिंक ये, चूंकि ये ऐसा वंस इन अ लाइफ टाइम काइंड ऑफ इवेंट था कि कोई प्रिपेयर नहीं था इसके लिए, लेकिन इसने सबको फोर्स किया कि आपने टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज करके अपने आप को इनोवेट करना है। जो स्कूल्स जो थे जिनके पास कोई लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम नहीं थे और हर चीज मैनुअल चल रही थी, दे वर फोर्स्ड to transform and use learning management systems and go into the remote learning piece. So I think that transformation got accelerated, and I think Microsoft ने अपनी एक स्टडी भी पब्लिश की थी जिसके ऊपर कहा था कि डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की स्पीड जो थी आई थिंक 30% एक्सेलरेट हो गई ईयर ओवर ईयर just because of the pandemic. And education is one of the key verticals that saw that. So I hope कि मैंने आपके सवाल का जवाब
जी। और सेकेंडली एक यानी कि कैरियर आपका जो कैरियर गुजरा है उसके लिहाज से मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाह रहा हूँ कि जैसे कि अगर हम एक न्यू एंट्रेंट होते हैं, इवन कि अब हम लोग यानी कि एक बंदा आया है जो अपने कैरियर के शुरू में है और कुछ टेक्नोलॉजीज होती है वो डाइंग फेज में होती हैं उस टाइम पे कुछ टेक्नोलॉजी न्यू फेज में होती हैं और कभी ऐसा होता है कि हम एक क्रूज मोड में चल रहे होते हैं। लेट्स सपोज के ASP.NET है वो मुझे अच्छी आती है, मैं क्रूज मोड पे हूँ और आई एम हैप्पी कि मैं इतना पैसे कमा रहा हूँ और मुझे लग रहा है कि यार ये मुझे 1-2 साल में लगेंगे। तो कितना टाइम आपको अपने फ्यूचर टेक्नोलॉजी होराइजन पे देखना चाहिए, कितना टाइम आपको अपने करंट स्किल सेट को और फर्निश करना चाहिए? क्या क्या कहते हैं आप?
I think great question. I think जो मैंने जो ग्रोथ माइंडसेट की बात की थी अपनी एक स्लाइड के अंदर, दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आई वाज ट्राइंग टू टैकल, राइट? कि आप जो भी काम कर रहे हैं, लाइक आपने यू हैव टू गो टू अ जॉब 9 to 5 और व्हाटएवर जो भी आपकी कमिटमेंट है, और हो सकता है वहां पे ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी है जो आपको लगता है कि भाई इट्स नॉट गोना ग्रो फॉरवर्ड, और कोई बहुत लेगेसी चीज के ऊपर आप काम कर रहे हैं और आपको लगता है कि कैरियर की ग्रोथ उसमें नहीं बनेगी, ट्रेजेक्टरी नहीं बनेगी जो आप चाहते हैं। इसलिए आपको यू हैव टू गिव योरसेल्फ टाइम कि आपने अपना भी ख्याल रखना। यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट ऑन योर पर्सनल साइड ऑफ द इक्वेशन। सो मैंने आज लाइक आई टॉक्ड अबाउट 3 things. So 2 were technology, 1 was the personal piece. So you are responsible. So Shakir Majid is responsible for Shakir Majid's personal journey.
Exactly.
Misbah cannot be responsible. Adnan cannot be responsible. Hammad cannot be responsible. Your manager cannot be responsible. Your family cannot be responsible. You have to take that responsibility and invest time in your own growth. You have to say कि भाई महीने में ये 4 घंटे, 8 घंटे, 10 घंटे, 2 घंटे, 1 घंटा ये मुझे निकालना है और ये मुझे अपनी पर्सनल ग्रोथ के लिए काम करना है। मुझे कोई चीज सीखनी है, वो चीज वो ऐसी भी चीज हो सकती है जिसका आपको कुछ भी नहीं पता, लेकिन आपको पता है कि उसमें ग्रोथ है, उसमें स्कोप है, and you see yourself doing it, so you got to invest time in it. और फिर उसके अंदर परसिवेरेंस और ग्रेट और वो सारी चीजें भी आती हैं। सो लॉन्ग माइंडेड वे ऑफ सेइंग, हम सब अपनी कैरियर जर्नीज के खुद जिम्मेदार हैं। वी हैव टू टेक ओनरशिप एंड डू इट। और फिर आप ऑब्वियसली आप अपने वालिदैन से दुआ करने का बोल रहे हैं, अल्लाह से दुआ करें, या जो भी आपकी पर्सनल फिलॉसफी है आप उसको फॉलो करें, बट यू गॉट टू डू द हार्ड वर्क योरसेल्फ फर्स्ट।
यस, ट्रू सही बात है, बिल्कुल सही बात है। थैंक यू अहमद भाई, थैंक फॉर टेकिंग टाइम आउट। आपकी भी काफी रात हो रही होगी आई गेस वहाँ पे। या बट मैं बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ इसलिए कि आपने मतलब कि शो अवेलेबल किया अपने आप को, इसके लिए आई एम रियली थैंकफुल फॉर यू और रियली थैंकफुल। यप,
मोस्ट वेलकम, गुड लक विद द कॉन्फ्रेंस और फिर इंशाल्लाह।
थैंक यू,
टेक केयर,
थैंक यू,
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम। So I would just like to mention over here that our both of the rooms has been like the session has been started over there, so you can join on those room, and our session, our different speakers are already delivering the session. So thanks a lot. I'm ending this live stream.